Yeah, obviously he's a another veteran to add to that young linebacker group. He's a ball of energy, great leadership. Can play both Will and Sam. Um, Love him. Obviously, we have the history in Seattle, or I'm sorry, San Francisco. But no, he's a special young man. So
Where do you view him on the defense? Is this a depth signing where if something happens to somebody up there,
well, we'll
or
see. We'll see where he's at. He hasn't he wasn't obviously he wasn't here for OTAs. We're gonna work him out the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, and just see where he's at so we can set his schedule for him next week. But no expectations except to do what he always does, which is bring a lot of juice, a lot of energy. He plays his absolute tail off, and we'll let day by day go, and we'll see where it ends up.
With Fant, Robert, when do you anticipate him being full go in practice?
We'll see. Again, that's day by day. I'm not going to put a number on it. Hopefully, sometime next week, once we get pads on, start mixing him in there a little bit. But he looks good. He's going through everything. He's getting treatment. He's doing basically everything except for the team stuff, which will come.
How would you evaluate how these first three practices have gone for you?
They've been good. The guys have been working. For me, it's about effort right now. It's playing fast and understanding. You need to learn how to practice without pads because you practice without pads during the season, and then the objective is to play as fast as possible. So it's been good. We've gotten better every single day, and we've got a good chance to finish tomorrow, which will be the last day on the block. So
With Sauce obviously being the fourth pick, everyone expects him to start. What do you need to see as the coach before you make that final decision?
um, that's a good question. I think it's one of those you'll know when you know, but him and Bryce are alternating days in terms of getting the reps and getting a feel for going against different receivers, and they're both getting those opportunities. So, both are doing a really nice job competing and helping one another out. So, he's doing a good job, and we'll know when we know.
We talked a lot this offseason about the additions you guys have made free agency draft and kind of upgrading this roster. Do you sense even early on here a higher level of competition in the practices going back and forth?
Heck yeah. I was talking with Joe the other day, and the greatest motivator is competition. Competition is the greatest motivator, however you want to word it. But that back end, you add DJ, you add Sauce, you add Whitehead, and Lamarcus is back, and just the entire group is elevated. Well, they're still teammates and they're working together, which is cool. The D line, um, we have a plethora of really good D linemen that you know the shame of it all is you're probably going to end up having to release NFL players. That's a good thing though. At the same time, with regards to the build of the roster, and but right now they're all just competing and giving it their best shot, and we'll see what happens. So
At the end of the
yeah,
practice, every guy's
so
going out in the red zone. It seemed pretty spirited.
yeah, it was just a four-play sequence down in the red zone. It was 2-2, so we uh, gave it a 2-point play at the end. That's kind of the situation that you guys saw. But anytime you can get into a competitive nature, they love it. I think coaches love it. There's you always want that purpose, and but it gets heated, especially when it goes the fourth day in a row. You get sick of seeing each other. It's going to get heated. It's going to get competitive, which is fine. So
How has Carl looked? I know you say you got to protect Carl from Carl, but how has he looked so far coming back from what he went through?
he looks good. Excited for pads, but he's stout. He's powerful. He's got all his movement. I think he's got full confidence in his lower half. Um, he's Carl. We had we gave him we reeled it back a little bit today for him, but which he was not happy about. But regardless, he looks really good.
Do you think with the offensive weapons you guys have added and back on the offensive line, like Zach, do you expect kind of to take a step this year?
Yeah, I think he already has. I think Zach will be a lot better. But at the same time, we're a very young group, so we've added guys, but it's a young group. You've got a rookie, you've got a second year player. Obviously Corey's there and Braxton, and you got Jeff and Mims and a couple other guys. But the backfield is young, so it is a young group. But at the same time, and what's going to be fun is to watch this group kind of gel together and create its own identity. And obviously we've got some good players, and they're all going to grow together. But aside from all that, I thought Zach did a really good job in the offseason. He's continued here in the first week. He's getting closer. He's getting closer. I know I know our training staff felt like there was a mini breakthrough here in the past week. So we'll see how things progress for the remainder of the weekend.
Elijah had a lot of flashes during training camp. Certainly showed that throughout the season. What's the next step forward for him?
So it's the same thing as everybody else. Just focus on the things you've got control over. I know it's cliche, but it's if you start putting expectations on yards and catches and all that stuff, you're missing the big picture, and that's just finding ways. Just keep grinding, keep finding ways to get better, and hone in on your craft and all the different things that you do have control over. And I think Elijah's wired that way. Competition being the best motivators, you've got individuals who are internally and externally motivated. And so when you look at a guy like Elijah, he doesn't care who's surrounding him. He's going to give everything he's got every time. But the overall group, it is a competitive group. You know, they're competing to make a 53-man roster, and it's which is healthy. So
Did Kai look physically to you?
he looks good. He you know, he walked out. Today was a really good day for him. You know, we just had a small talk as we were walking off, and he's not getting, you know, it's not getting easier. He's just getting stronger. And today I thought was a really good day. And
Thank you.
all right, thanks, guys.
So there it is. Training camp day 3 officially in the books. And we had some good, we had some bad. Let's go ahead and break it down. This is your New York Jets sit rep.
You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you had a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a renaissance man.
Okay, so day 3 is in the books. We had a combination of good things, bad things, all around. First and foremost, I'm pretty sure you've already seen the video. You've heard the news. We just signed Quan Alexander. The actual terms of this deal just got released today. Talking about just over $1.1 million, $152,000 in signing bonus, and we get him for the year. This is a guy who has a pretty good season last year. Again, he's been described as being an average to good player, which is something we haven't had. He brings to the table something that the other linebackers can't do. He's going to be able to cover running back out of the backfield, tight ends. He's very versatile in that way. He can play the wheel, he can play the sand. The guy is just a weapon that we have in that middle linebacker room alongside of CJ Mosley. So I'm excited about it. I've been wanting to see him on the roster. Quan Alexander. This is a guy who mentored Fred Warner when he was out in San Francisco. Was considered to be one of the top linebackers in the NFL at some point, and now he's a New York Jet at the ripe age of 27. He'll be 28 this coming season. So still in his prime. Still has some gas in the tank, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do in the green and white. However, he did not participate today in practice. He had his contract officially signed today, and I think he's going through a mini physical or some conditioning aspects. They're going to bring him along slowly. He hasn't been a part of a roster this entire offseason, so he hasn't been doing any kind of OTAs or any kind of conditioning. So they're going to bring him along slowly. So that's some great news. Quan Alexander officially a New York Jet, and Joe Douglas did it again. Got him at one heck of a price for the level of production we should expect from this guy. So now let's go ahead and walk into training camp. Today was a rough day for one Zach Wilson, or so you would think, right? So starting off, first play of the season, first play of the day, he throws an interception, right? But what's great about it is he threw the interception. Apparently, from all indications, he knew exactly what he did wrong. I think it was slightly thrown behind Corey Davis, and it was picked off. I believe that was by Bryce Hall. We saw picks today from Bryce Hall and as well as Whitehead. It's good to see the secondary making plays on the ball. That to me is exciting. It's hopefully, you know what I'm saying, a little preview of things to come this coming season. However, Zach Wilson didn't allow that to go ahead and ruin his entire day. He did bounce back. Apparently had a pretty good bounce back in terms of his play, his efficiency, and he was able to go ahead and throw a couple of beautiful touchdown passes. One to Corey Davis, beautiful touchdown pass just out of reach of, I want to say it was cornerback Sauce Gardner that was actually guarding him on that one, or maybe he gave up the one for Garrett Wilson. Apparently, Garrett Wilson had a beautiful juke move that created separation, and Zach Wilson was able to hit him for a wide open touchdown. So he did get 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions today. But at the end of the day, we want him to go ahead and learn from his mistakes now. The good thing is both interceptions weren't apparently the same type of interception, right? Miscommunication was apparently the issue the second time around, and that caused an interception. The first time, it was just a ball thrown slightly behind Corey Davis. So he didn't do the same thing twice, which means he's learning from his mistakes, which is good. He learns them now, vice, during live game action. So other than that, Zach Wilson had a good day. He still showed poise. Apparently, he was calm and collected. He knew exactly what he did wrong in any play that didn't result in plays. He had a couple of great third down drives. Apparently, getting the ball into Brees Hall's hands, Elijah Moore, and I believe Michael Carter as well. Ultimately, not a bad day for Zach Wilson. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but he made some pretty good plays, especially when it came down to third down conversions. We want to see that. Kid's going to grow. He's going to make these mistakes as he's testing the waters now. He's got more knowledge to go ahead and execute this offense. He's going to go ahead and test the boundaries a little bit. We want him testing the boundaries here. So that was for Zach Wilson. But Quinnen Williams apparently was a monster today. Quinnen Williams got into the backfield, two sacks, could have been a third sack potentially as well, based off of the pressure rate he was getting on Zach Wilson. He was constantly causing disruption in the backfield, which speaks a testament to the quality of players he has to his left and to his right. Let's not forget, Quinnen is going into a make it or break it year for him right now. He needs to prove that he was worth that third overall pick. And with the supporting cast he now has around him, he has very little excuse to not explode and dominate in this defensive scheme. So hearing and seeing him get into the backfield, last year he had 6 sacks. Maybe he can go ahead and capitalize on that. Maybe he hits 7, maybe he hits 8 this year. Nonetheless, having him at peak form is going to be very important for the other guys on that defensive line to be able to do their jobs as well and get after the quarterback. So great job on Quinnen Williams. He apparently went beast mode today. Michael Clemens got his first sack today as well. Garrett Wilson got his first touchdown pass, in scrimmages as well. Chuma Adoga apparently was a bright spot on the offensive line today, being mentioned and being brought up. Apparently, Carl Lawson has been quiet. You haven't heard much about Carl Lawson in terms of his performance. It's only been 3 days, but Chuma Adoga has been holding his own apparently on the offensive line. Maybe it's a situation to where it took him a few years to kind of get his NFL feet underneath him, and he might show out this year. So again, let's not forget Chuma Adoga was a freakish athlete out of USC. He had all the makings of a starting NFL caliber offensive tackle, and we just haven't seen it the last couple of years. But perhaps it took him a little while to get into his comfort zone or into his mold, and now hopefully at least showed us that he's a good caliber swing tackle for us. Maybe he could add some depth behind George Fant and behind Mekhi Becton. Carl Lawson, I know we're not hearing much about him, but I wouldn't put too much stock into that. You also hear in the press conference from Robert Saleh that one of the things that they've done is they're trying to keep him a bit, mid-tempo. They're not trying to have him go 100% right now. They believe he's 100% healthy. Carl believes he's 100% healthy. They're trying to go ahead and ease my man back, so that way they don't re-aggravate anything, cause any kind of other injury or ailment or whatever. And I'm okay with that. They want to put him in a freaking bunch of bubble wrap just to keep him safe and healed up. I am 100% okay with that. But ultimately, it's not that Carl Lawson isn't Carl Lawson. It's just that they're not trying to have him go full speed. And he alluded to that during his press conference as to that's why they're just easing Carl Lawson back into the rotation. All in all, it was I guess you can say a little bit of up and down for the offense. Another solid performance by the defense. The defensive line getting into the backfield. The secondary is gelling really well. A lot of competition is happening across the board right now, and it's a beautiful thing to see this in training camp, because now once we do some joint practices, potentially get into the preseason, I think these guys are going to be really fine-tuned because they're going up against legitimate real players. Like, we have real players right now going up against each other at one Jets drive. Before, we would have players going up against, second tier players, third tier players, maybe a couple of used car salesmen. They'd be going through those to training camp and looking good in training camp, right? But those were false hopes, false narratives, because those weren't real NFL level competition. We can legitimately say now that on both sides of the ball, everyone is facing real NFL level competition. I'm excited to see what Quan Alexander brings to the table. Again, his familiarity with the defense shouldn't be too much of a learning curve for him to kind of learn some of the different verbiage. Pretty much same play packages. They just change the verbiage because you don't want the verbiage to be similar to what you did at San Francisco. But ultimately, yeah, it's training day 3, training camp day 3. The defense apparently won today again. It was definitely a defensive day, but Zach Wilson is showing progress. Even with those interceptions thrown, it's now showing him, boom, he needs to lead Corey Davis a little bit further out next time, right? Or that miscommunication that happened in training camp between him and that receiver won't be an issue, hopefully, come next week or the following week or even tomorrow. There are some concerns in regards to George Fant not being out there playing, but again, he's no longer on the pup list. He has been moved off the pup list. He is cleared to play. They're just kind of easing him along right now. Again, the contract negotiations isn't a concern or isn't an issue. George Fant is happy to be at camp right now. His press conference that he did went pretty well, pretty positive as well. So it's just a matter, I think they're just trying to ease him in. Braxton Berrios is an anomaly to me. We don't know if he's hurt, if he's not hurt, but it seemed as if Robert Saleh stated that he was coming along, as if there was an injury or something. Maybe, I don't know. Needless to say, he states that George Fant and Braxton Berrios should be in camp next week, ready to go 100%. So it doesn't seem like it's anything serious. But if you were wondering why Braxton Berrios' name has not been mentioned, or why we're not seeing George Fant out there, that's what Coach Saleh stated in the press conference. And positive little uptick for Jeremy Ruckert. We all know Jeremy Ruckert was put on the PUP list and he's remained on there, coming back from the foot injury he endured during the Senior Bowl. It's been several months now, and I talked about this last week that I was kind of concerned as to what's taking this long for it to kind of like progress. It seems he's had a huge like move forward or a step forward in his recovery, and Robert Saleh alluded to the fact that he should be coming off of that pup list sometime here during training camp. So that's good to know, right? He's a rookie. We want to kind of get him out there to kind of get those reps underneath him. Playing against some NFL level competition is going to be key for him to really see like where he stands when it comes to the men he's playing with now, vice the boys he was playing with when he was at Ohio State. So that's good news as well about Jeremy Ruckert coming up hopefully here sooner than later. We start to see some live action with him as well. Pads come on Monday. I know I'm excited to see some of those padded practices. I know the Jets themselves are excited to throw the pads on and start hitting one another. Should be a fun time as well. Trying to see the competition just take a notch up just a little bit. And I'm excited for it, man. Again, we're so much closer to real live football. It's not even funny. We're in the last weekend of the month of July. August 1st will soon be here. And before you know it, we can start saying, hey, next month, football is officially back. And then the transformation, the change in narrative begins for the New York Jets. Let's go. I can't wait for it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been your training camp day 3 New York Jets situation report. And yeah, till next time, have a good one.